Hi and welcome to my greenhouse. I thought I'd give another update on how the Sarracenia is doing. Now we are towards the end of April, so these flowers, I think in my last video there were a few that had come out, and now it's awash with flowers, really beautiful ones. So we've got a lot of really beautiful colours here. We've got some beautiful salmon pink ones here. These are my old sort of Murray crosses. I have no real idea what their heritage is, but they do produce some really nice flowers, and they produce some really tall pitchers, sort of 30 inches sometimes. This beautiful yellow flower here, that is a flava, so that's Flava rubicorpora crossed with a Lata redlid. Now it actually does look a bit yellower in real life than the camera's portraying here. We've got some really beautiful redder ones here. This is Leuco red tube crossed with Flava atropurpurea. And again, that looks absolutely stunning. And she's got a whole bunch of really beautiful flowers on her here. We've got a few further back there which haven't come out yet. Those will be little tight small ones there, or they'll be rubras. And they'll come out as a beautiful dark red. I'm not entirely sure what that one facing away from us is, but we'll perhaps catch that one later. So here we've got a really beautiful display of Flava rubicorpora crossed with Lata redlid again. So this is one of my bigger sort of specimen pots, and that's got about 6 or 7 flowers on it. They don't smell particularly nice, these ones being flava, but they are really beautiful. Really stunning. So we move on a bit more. Again, we've got some more Flava rubicorpora, Leuco red tube, Flava atropurpurea here. Again, they've got a really nice dark colour. This one here, which is a little bit more of a droopy flower. It's got more green sepals on this bit than this flava. So this one is Flava rubicorpora purple tube. And she tends to keep her sepals sort of quite closed even on the open flowers. There's another one there. And the petals themselves are quite a nice yellow, but it's not quite as open as the Flava Lata redlid, the Flava rubicorpora Lata redlid. But still very beautiful. That one there will be another purple tube one. Again, really beautiful. So as we come across, I think that's another Flava rubicorpora Lata redlid. This set of flowers here are my Kimber red ruffles, or one of my Kimber red ruffles. This one's kind of interesting one because quite a lot of the others, they keep their petals sort of quite wide, whereas this one, as is the case with, I think with a lot of flavas, they tend to sort of almost the petals sort of fold in on themselves. They don't sort of open flat. As you can see there, they sort of folded in on themselves. See, like that flava as well. But this is a really beautiful dark yellow, and it's got some really quite large flowers. And when she actually uses her traps, this is just one of them. Persuade the camera to actually focus on that. The lid on that will be absolutely massive, so I'll do another video later on when they've actually come out. This is, as I suggest as comparison, the petals on this one. So this is one of my Murray crosses. This is the one that produces really large flowers. This is a relatively small plant, but the flower on this one is, I mean, it's easily bigger than pretty much every other flower in the greenhouse at the moment. But as you can see on this one, the petals are actually nicely open. It's got a beautiful deep red colour. So that's really, really beautiful. And there's some more of them here facing away from us. And here's another absolute beauty. Like I said before, she produces some stunning sized flowers. Absolutely stunning size. I mean, these must be sort of 4 inches across probably on the sepals at the top. And the petals are probably a good 2.5 inches long, but it's really, really beautiful. Oreophila at the moment is doing nothing really. She's got lots of traps coming, but her flowers are still very tightly closed at the moment, so we won't be getting any crosses off her. If we dig back here somewhere, I think that dark red flower back there is one of my Leucos. But she's quite tightly closed, and some of the smaller flower buds you can see there, they're more rubras, and again they'll come out later. She's tend to produce an absolute mass of very small but really delicately beautiful flowers. Really, really like rubra. Way back here is my Flavolata red lid. Again, produces some beautiful yellow flowers, sort of getting the yellow from Flava and also the sort of yellowy green from Alata. And to show you Alata, here's one of my Alatas. And now here you can actually see that this is actually coming out quite nicely from the camera. That the sepals themselves were quite a light green colour, and the petals are almost white. They're slightly off-white, slightly green, but some of them do come out almost white. So I think when you cross Flava with Alata, you do tend to tone down the yellow of Flava with this slightly lighter green coloured flower of Alata. So a few of some new ones I bought. This one is a Leuco crossed with Adrian Slack. And it's got a beautiful red, deep red flower here, deep red coloured flower here. Really, really nice. And there's another variation clone here. Again, of the same ones. Here's actually a tiny little rubra coming out. I'll do another probably video later of that. They are really, really stunning. A few more Latas. And then we've got a few more Flavas. This is probably... Actually, this is Flavolata red lid. Some more of those. And as we come into this tray, these are younger plants, so they haven't got as many flowers out. That'll be an Alata of some description. That's one of the crosses I've got. This is going to be really nice, hopefully. So this is, I think, one I featured in the video last year. It was the darkest coloured flower I have ever seen. Absolutely beautiful. And this is all last year's growth still. So all these beautiful dark red traps here are all from last year. And only now, oops, knocking a plant, is the tip of that hood just starting to brown slightly. So this is a rubra crossed with Sarracenia cross, and she is just so beautiful. Like I say, the colour of the traps on this, and the fact that these are year-old traps. I mean, she's only just there, starting to produce her new traps for spring, and her previous year's ones are still so beautiful. I mean, she's almost like Purpurea in that respect of keeping the traps from one year to next. I mean, so I do have some other rubras that, you know, they do keep their pictures really nicely through the winter. This lovely orangey coloured flower here, this is a Popey. That, I can't remember the cross of that one now, but it's one of the fairly regular crosses. I think it's a Flava crossed with maybe Leuco, I can't remember now. I'll have to look that one up. And we've got another Poppy cross here, slightly more orange. Really beautiful veining on that one. And then we've got a few others here. We've got an interesting one here there to sort of almost turn itself upside down to show its underside really nicely. But this, if I can persuade it to bend over a bit, has got a really... Come on, camera. At times I do wonder what this camera actually decides to focus on. I've never quite figured it out. There we go. She's got really, really dark flowers there. Really dark red petals. I think that is a Catesbii cross, so that would sort of explain it, because that'll have purpurea in it, so that'll explain why those are quite nice. And a few more flowers here, crosses, flower crosses. We've got a beautiful one here. I think this might be actually Pyrophilia, but it might be a Flava. It could be Flava Max actually, this cross. Cross with Catesbii, but look at the trap on that one. That is huge. I mean, that is the mouth on this is a good 1.5 inches, probably getting for 2 inches across, and the veining on this one is stunning. A lot of the other ones are that same set of seedlings. They come out absolutely pure green like this one, but that one over there, I'm keeping that one as a do not sell because she looks absolutely beautiful. I'm hoping to get some nice seedlings off my little purpureal green there. That'd be quite nice. Try and cross it with something brightly coloured, see what comes out. And then, as I showed you in the previous video, we've got some really beautiful Cobra Lilies, Darlingtonia flowers here. Very delicate. So yeah, inside the greenhouse it's looking stunning. Outside it's nothing really. They're all only buds at the moment. So I've been doing some dividing and some pollinating. If I just grab a pen, I'll grab a pen, paintbrush. So if you're interested in actually doing pollination on these flowers, what you're going to need to do is take your favourite ones that you want to actually pollinate and cross, and you want to basically get some of the pollen out of the sort of the upturned almost umbrella here. Let's see if I can find one that's a little bit more obvious. So if I carefully pull up a petal there, you might, though probably not, be able to see there is pollen on the underside of that. And then you want to take that pollen on something like a small paintbrush or a toothpick or something like that, and then basically dab it on, if I zoom in, dab it on that little receptor area there at the end of each of those little upturned bits on the actual flower. And you'll find there's 5 of those around the flower on each of these, on the inside of each of these points here. And just basically dab it on. I normally do it a couple of times and I note down in the book which ones I've crossed. And I do it a couple of times, maybe a day, a couple of days apart. Again, you can just about see that little thing in the right in the middle there. And then hope for the best. Now, some people will cover them to stop other things pollinating them, the insects. I tend to leave them open. It does risk getting a bit of a variation in the crosses, but I just love to actually look at the flowers, and I must admit I don't like the view of them with the little net bags over to stop the insects. I also quite like the bumblebees in my greenhouse. They enjoy the flowers and the nectar and the pollen that the flowers produce, and so I always feel it's a bit of a shame to sort of stop them from having their fun. It's something they actually need. Although come the summer when the traps are out, I do seem to spend most of my time trying to fish the bumblebees out of the traps. But there we go. So there was a quick-ish tour around the greenhouse of how absolutely beautiful they are now looking. Go back to a nice wide view of this one. Getting a bit sunny now. So yeah, it looks really stunning at the moment. I'll do another video maybe in a couple of weeks' time, which time most of these flowers will now be, or will be over. A few of the latecomers will be out, but hopefully by then we'll have a lot more actual picture growth, which will start showing some of the beautiful pictures that these plants have. So thank you for watching. If you like this sort of thing, do give me a like and a subscribe, and leave any comments below for things you'd like to see in the future.